Joshua Lopez.
Fill it out.
Joshuaz. Wait, what? I'm sorry. I was typing my email. Joshuaz. It's been different. So the market between Brownsville and McAllen is completely different. I also believe it has to do a lot with where we are located. In Brownsville, we're located right off the expressway, so it's like a quick in and out traffic. And in our McAllen location, it's much more of a intentional stop. So it's you go, you chill, hang out with friends, and then you jet. It's a little different, but it's nice to have both. Well, it kind of started during the pandemic. We worked in the mall before, me and my wife, in that mall industry, and during COVID, it kind of shut down. So we didn't really have any income coming in. We were kind of like, man, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I had some money saved up, and a few of our friends kind of allowed us to open up at a church. So we started at a church as a pop-up. Did that for a few months, for about 6 months, and after those 6 months, we finally found a building to jump into, which was our first location in Brownsville. So we jumped into that. But I think the name Nerve came out of just all the nerves that came through the pandemic. So when we hung out with friends during the pandemic, which we weren't supposed to, we would say un cafecito para los nervios.
Say para los nervios.
Yeah.
That like slogan being brought up when you first started.
Yeah. So para los nervios means, well, yeah, you know what that means. Coffee in general is like a weird acquired taste. When you first come into it, it's definitely weird when the world's kind of more like in the sweets, the sugars, pushing that. But I think the most easiest drink to drink is probably going to be a latte. You can have it hot or cold. You could add any of our house-made syrups that we make all in-house. If you want to make it a little extra sweeter, you could add our cream top. It's like a cold foam that sits on the top. It is pre-sweetened, so it just adds a little extra juice to the coffee. But the most popular drink is probably an iced dulce de leche latte. Yeah, that's probably the most popular one for sure.
Any final comments you can make?
Any final comments? Man, I don't know. We're kind of new to the McAllen area. I still feel like we're kind of like low-key from the area because no one really knows who we are. We don't have friends. We don't have family out here. But it's been a nice 6 months. We see a lot of the same faces come in and out all the time. So it's nice to see that. But I think there's still more room to grow in McAllen, like to expand of our reach. Yeah, so all onto that.
My name is Gloria Reyes, and I go by Tofu Squares Bench. My work, mostly what I focus in is metalsmithing and petite sculpture. So I do like to use small objects and make them wearable, something that you can carry around with you, like on the daily, that maybe reminds you of something or, just changes the context of an object. So I like to set stones. I also like to make jewelry with toys and plastic pieces and different things like that. But it definitely is a compulsory thing. I have a compulsion to make, so I need to be using my hands all the time. So I think that there's something to be said about carrying an object. And then, like I said, it is a form of sculpture, but it's petite. So we can really make anything we want of that. We can make like morning jewelry where you're wearing something that maybe someone who passed is represented in. And it's also fashion. So I didn't used to think of it as fashion, but now when I make my work, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be for my favorite rapper, my favorite drag queen, my favorite performer. So that's kind of like what I have in my mind. I like to think about the places that the work is gonna go also. Sure. So like this one, I finished up today. And this is a combination of two different weaves. I've got one weave going here. And so this was kind of a piece that I had been making in segments, and I wasn't sure if I should make it a continuous piece or how to get in there and have some little creative moments. So I will learn the weave, usually from a book, and then I'll find out what sizes work best for what product I'm gonna make, and then I'll mix things up. So this is also a mixture of weaves. I always thought for a while that I was going to be a portrait artist. I wanted to be a painter, but there's really something cool about making work that you can like run over with a car and it's going to survive. So I really like that about that. I like to use the word heirloom to describe some of my work because it's something that you can give to someone in 100 years and it'll still be wearable.
When it comes to your metalwork, what's the most fun part of it that you enjoy?
My favorite thing is seeing people in the wild with my work. So like when I'm at the coffee shop or like I'm at a bar or something and someone's wearing one of my pieces, that's really, really exciting.
It's beautiful. Like Roman, a really dear friend of ours, wrote it. Really based off of the photo that Brandon took. So Brandon works over at Labyrinth. He's an amazing analog photographer, and so we had this thing where we're like, you know what? Let's go around the neighborhood. We just love like the way the historic downtown looks, and so we decided to just canvas around, take photos. And when I showed the photo to Roman, he was like, hey, like this photo really resonates with me. It speaks really loudly. And so I just asked him, you know what, like look at the photo, write something that really like speaks loudly to you through the eyes of like Deposito el Nopalito. For us being a wine shop that champions local projects, like how do you feel like you fit into this kind of business? And so like when he wrote that and I read it, I was just like, I don't know how to really describe it other than like just simply moved. And every time I read it, like it really like spoke loudly to me. And so over time, we kind of really sat on it for a little while, and we asked him, hey, would you be okay and comfortable with us posting it on our website? Because I really feel like it represents like our shop and like our community and where we're at. And he said absolutely. And so I'm glad you like resonate with that as well. I think like inspiration, like creative inspiration, I really feel like we do a really great job in just like supporting people's visions. And so when someone walks in with an idea, like it really inspires me to want to help. And so if anything, like if there's one takeaway when you visit as a creative is to know that like we're here for you and we're here to like help extend your vision and bring it into a reality, and also kind of loop other people into your projects to help support that, because the more people involved, the further things go. And like that's what kind of the entire basis of the shop is built on, is to rediscover and change the landscapes that are around us. Absolutely, I think the main like takeaway is to come in with this like fresh perspective, right, of a vineyard first perspective, where you're looking at the land and the way it's treated and the way that we're treating the land as well, and like our viewpoint on that. So like what I like to think about is wine being a agricultural product, and for us to like look at wine in that way and to discover it that way as well. So just the way you like pick a tomato or pick a carrot, like there's thousands of producers out there that are treating their land with so much respect, so much value. And these are just like fermented grapes at the end of the day, So like for us, it's just discover the world of wine as you would discover the world of food. Yeah, absolutely, just the wildness of the program is really like reflective of the way I like to communicate. Sometimes I do find it difficult to put things into words, and so I like to put things into like physical form and present it to people. and have that like speak the volumes of like words that I would like to like communicate. And so our wine program really speaks loudly on how passionate I am about really bringing these producers to light and sharing the just amazing things that they're doing in every country that they're doing it in.
May I have your name?
Diego Ramos.
Can you spell it out?
DIEGORAMOS. You know what? I wish I could like send little like inspirational like messages through the universe back to like Diego back then. Tell him that he's doing a super good job, to just keep going and don't stop like kind of creating ideas and always thinking outside the box, because that's what's gotten us so far. Super proud of how we started, where we started, and all of the all the sweat and the effort and the everything it took to get us here. And I'm super proud of that, Diego. I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I always think about that, Diego, and how he was like just super courageous and willing to just go for it. No restraints.
Yeah, because I remember when you weren't there and it was a pop-up, like a market at the school, I was like, now I gotta settle for...
Dude, yeah. That's what happens when you taste Diego's. Everything else kind of like, oh man, there's the normal and then there's the Diego version. So it's always gonna be weird, it's always gonna be good, it's always gonna be different. The new experimental stuff. You got all sorts of sliders and sandwiches and like this crispy rice with some super good sashimi grade ahi tuna in like a little mix of seasonings, and we have the same version but with like lion's mane cooked in like a little Asian-y sauce. Super good. Try the hot chicken sandwich. It's kind of like a Nashville, but not kind of like a Nashville. We did a lemon preserve yogurt with dill and garlic on the chicken burger instead of like a spicy mayo. And then the hot oil is sitar, cumin, and coriander, olive oil infused like spices. Really good, really good. Try that one. Try the chicken sandwich. The burger's the classic one, except it's cheesy. It's nice and meaty. What else is super good? It's all super good. Eat it all. Another cool thing about Diego's is a lot of the Valley comes and tries dishes for the first time ever. So we get a lot of people that come by the truck and say like, this is the first time I've ever tried bone marrow, or what else do we serve? Like we have a burger with heart, liver, kidney mixed into the ground beef. It's our carnivore burger. And a lot of people tell us like, I've never had organs before, or I've never had a lobster roll, or whatever. Everything we sell, like, right, it's A1. And it's not talked about enough. A lot of, we have all sorts of dishes, meat plates, vegetarian plates, vegan plates, just to kind of hit all of those, all those kind of diets, right? But the coolest thing about our beef is that by supporting small farms, you kind of get to fight the meat industry in a way, because we don't buy beef from the grocery store. So if you kind of you promote more local beef products, local beef consumption, then it's a way to also fight the meat industry while still eating beef and not switching to a vegetarian diet, or a vegan diet. I mean, I love it all, right? But farm to table is not spoken enough, because it's a way to change the way we look at beef, because it has a lot of negative connotations to it. It's a low stigma towards eating meat, you're contributing to X, Y, and Z, right? But by supporting small farms, they're changing the game. They're long story short, small farms are changing the game. So always support farm to table, anything.
From my experience,
You know what? 110% of it is passion driven. I don't have any recipes in my database. I've never taken a cooking class or like a culinary school, anything. I mean, like the occasional like cooking class abroad, right, where they're teaching me how to like do things. But 100% of this is like passion, and love, and so as long as you kind of know what your ingredients taste like and you're using solid stuff, it'll always be good. So a lot of the times, all you really have to do is just talk about what you used and you're good. Like, done. Super good. Dude, that's my favorite question. Everything that I serve has a story. Like the hibiscus lemonade, it's the story behind that one is every single Mexican restaurant that I would go to when I was a little kid that served lemonade and Jamaica together, I would always tell them to mix it. I would never get one or the other. And so at my establishment, I serve a lemonade but already mixed with the Jamaica and the lemonade. So it's like, it's what I used to do, what I still do, and it's a little bit of that in every dish, like, I mean, on both sides of my family, they're cattle people, so, I feel like part of me is in every burger that I serve. That's why I love it so much, because it's like, it's a part of me, it's a part of my family, it's a part of like my background, my roots. So I'm super meant to do this. I don't think I'm meant to be anywhere else. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I'm just over the top, ecstatic about the future. I love everything that we've done in the past. I wouldn't change anything for the world. And I'm happy to be here.